How to draw better poses. Okay.
You suck at anatomy, you're bad at drawing poses, and your family doesn't love you. Well, I have
The fuck? YouTube isn't just a place for entertainment anymore. It has become this massive landscape for learning, especially in creative fields like art. Think about it, even top athletes, including Olympic champions, have used YouTube to level up their game. People like John Jones, one of the greatest fighters of all time, by watching videos online on YouTube.
And I just started YouTubing videos about self-belief. I taught myself how to believe in myself and how to think that I was greater than just this kid that was a dropout who, never really had great grades.
So, if pros are doing it, there's gotta be something to it, right? In this video, I'm going to dive into the advices floating around the YouTube art community and see if it holds up. Let's see if you can really improve just by watching YouTube.
A lot of people start off their drawing with nothing in mind, just their two brain cells. That's why a lot of the time, their characters just be floating in space. What is this? Among Us? You should at least add a ground, okay? First, you need to draw a plane like this. Don't just have them floating around in space. They are not Among Us. The next thing you want to think about is the
What is that? Okay, Colleen mentioned some stuff there. Even a bit of planning will do your illustrations justice, man. It really is so useful. That's why even some riot artists do it, because it's such a good foundation for you to put on stuff. Man, this bot, bro. This bot is kinda distracting. Okay, this is really solid advice. Really good, really good.
So, a rule of thumb I learned about body language is shy people tend to make themselves smaller. For example, they often cross their arms, or maybe they slouch to keep attention off them. Meanwhile, extroverted and outgoing people make themselves bigger. They're not afraid to take up space, meaning their range of motion is very broad. And yes, that includes T-posing. So
Okay, so by incorporating personality to your drawings, like Colleen said, you are forced to maintain consistency while still adding new changes, unlike just sticking to your old drawing habits, which forces you to make creative decisions, making you learn more things and better overall. So this is really good, really solid advice. So instead of just relying on this, when you insert personality, you are forced to do crazy stuff.
first, line of action, or how I'd like to call the scoliosis line. So this is how some of y'all be drawing bodies. It's literally just a straight line. Listen, most people don't have perfect posture 24/7. In fact, you're probably slouching right now as you're watching this with your pathetic artist shrimp posture. Imagine.
Yo.
Now, let's try to draw a decent looking body.
Ooh, yo.
Bro, why does the stomach look like a chum burger? To make this more interesting is to add the two lines.
Notice Colin didn't use the scoliosis line there. Just the line for the shoulders and the waist. Yeah, I think that's very unnecessary. A lot of artists, especially beginners, make the mistake of adding way too many unnecessary guidelines to their work. The key is to only add guidelines that actually serve a purpose. Whether it's for proportions, perspective, or helping with placement, every line should be intentional. So this scoliosis line that Colin talked about, it can serve your art by giving you a sense of motion. But if you draw this line just for the sake of it, that's a red flag. So just be mindful. Moving on.
Scoliosis curve. You also want to add triangles. Look at what this looks like when we turn it completely black. What is this? Who's that Pokemon? The heck is that?
That's crazy, bro.
You want to add some triangles. Oh yes, Illuminati. It's to distribute the visual weight evenly across the canvas. This can help avoid a cluttered or unbalanced look in your artwork. I am reading this off of ChatGPT, by the way. All I know is
That's crazy.
So now let's apply everything we said. Here is a golden triangle of drawing poses. Of course, I just pulled this out of my butt. It's not official. First, I'm gonna start with the line of action, with the lines and all, and with that. And there are triangles, you know? And now you know.
Yeah, I think this is all, man. And next we have some dust arts. Oh my god, bro. I guess, like, along with TV Show, he's one of my favorite as well. Like, dude, you know what the heck, man? You know, sometimes he does things like in 2 hours and such. Some dust arts is crazy. I remember watching him as a beginner, and my skills like quadrupled, bro. It's absolutely crazy what you can learn from this person. 1 hour! No, he did this in 1 hour. Let's tune in to this video, how to make the best art you can make.
God, stop sneaking up on me like that. Let me have
My bad, bro.
Come on.
Yo! Ooh.
Oh, now, I think there's one really important lesson, and I'm going to share that with you today so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. The one thing that these pieces had in common was that I made them without expectations. No expectations for my own technical ability, no expectations for their online performance, and no expectation of the feedback that I might get when I show it to other people. That's the one thing, the one underlying theme for all of these pieces that I loved so much. Look, if you've ever drawn before, I'm sure you've had this very ununique experience. You just take out an old piece of wrinkly paper that you got an F on and you just start doodling something. Maybe you're like, man, I'm bored, I want to draw my OC. And within like 5 minutes, you look at that page and you're like, what the? I've been touched by God. You've just drawn the most beautiful portrait of your OC that you've ever done. All the proportions are perfect, the facial features look.
Before we continue, oh my god, this advice is so enlightening. Draw your drawings without expectation. You allow yourself to truly do your best.
And it's like a perfectly imperfect piece because you did it on a wrinkly piece of paper with a bad pencil that you didn't really care about. And somehow you've made a masterpiece. And then here's the cruelest part. You take that same sketch. You're like, man, this is a beautiful sketch. I'm going to translate this onto an actual sketchbook page and make something that I'm really proud of. And you try to do it again and you just can't. Your OC just turns out looking like Peppa Pig, you know,
That's true. Whoa.
You set that bar and you're like, I'm gonna try to translate this into my sketchbook. When you let that narrative of like, oh, I gotta make it live up to this, I gotta make it as good as this, I gotta make it so that other people can see it and be super impressed by this. When that infiltrates your subconscious mind, you get tense. You're a little bit of...
That's so true, bro. This is amazing advice.
There are some artists who are just, you can tell they're really artistically limber. They're not as rigid, they're not as uptight, you know, they're kind of like, they're boneless. They're like boneless chicken. In a lot of my most recent pieces, I found that the ones that ended up being my favorites, they were often the ones that I went into thinking, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna try this out. I genuinely have no idea how this one's gonna turn out, but I'm just gonna give it a shot anyways. And I find that when I have that mindset going into it, I tend to trust the process a little bit more. And by the end, with that final piece, I'm always pleasantly surprised. And in contrast,
You just gotta trust yourself, man.
all of these expectations are like weights that you tie to yourself. You know, it's almost like a way to hold yourself down. It's gonna just paralyze your creativity, right? Thinking too much, worrying too much kills your creativity. It destroys any...
I just lost my dog. So real. Expectations kills creativity, man. Just gotta have fun with it.
Every single piece that I went into with that open mind, with no expectations, no worries about how many likes it's gonna get, 90% of the time, I'm happier with it than I thought I would be. And as a product of that, it actually ends up performing even better on social media. So now, you know, looking back, I can honestly say that's one of the most important lessons that I've learned. And I think me starting out, it would have been very, very valuable to hear this message. So now I'm sharing with you guys, especially...
Thank you so much, man. This advice is really good. Really nice of Sam to thought about it. Awesome stuff, man. Holy moly.
A lot of us now are kind of just growing up surrounded by this environment of comparison. Everything is just instant gratification. The moment you put something up, you get instant feedback by how many likes you get, how many views you get. You always seem to be chasing the approval of other people or comparing yourself to somebody else. You could be looking at someone who's younger than you, who draws better than you, and you're like, oh my God. And you just sit there in the corner in pain, wondering what you've been doing for the last 10 years. We can all relate to that. We all feel that. And the next thing you know, you start carrying some of that baggage into your work. You start thinking, all right, this needs to be a certain way. I need to be as good as this. I need to get this many likes from this piece. And that's the most toxic thing that you can possibly...
True.
Then yesterday, I don't know, something got inside of me.
What the fuck?
Not literal, okay? Whether it looks good or not is up to the universe. Whether people like it or not is up to the universe. Take that weight off of yourself when you're about to create.
This advice is one of the most phenomenal things that I've heard in a while.
What the Sigma?
Okay, let's proceed with my favorite programmer, Picat. I followed her when she's only been doing Twitter. She's sending some progress while she was still working as a programmer. It was cool, man. It was really cool. It was really personal seeing her art on Twitter during that stage on her career. And now she's doing really great on YouTube. So proud of her, man. What? What is this? Beat.
Monday left me broken. Do you want to learn how to draw better?
Yes.
So you do a bit of searching on how to get better at art and wait, huh? Draw boxes? You want to draw this, not this? In fact, I'd even say that drawing boxes is the most effective art practice I've ever done.
Whoa, that's a bold claim to make. But it's Picat, man.
I know
Let's
it
go.
sounds crazy. Instead of thinking of them as 2D shapes that keep changing all the time, try thinking of them as 3D shapes rotating in space. This is why drawing boxes is so important. It helps you develop this intuition for 3D space. Okay, that's cool, and I already know how to draw boxes, so next topic? And if you do, great. But just to double check, do you really? It's not.
Yeah.
It's actually way harder than it looks. If you're not sure, here's a quick test, just to check. Go ahead and freehand a cube. Remember to draw through it,
Okay, let's do this. Wait.
so you can see the back plane as well. And also remember, it's supposed to be a cube, not just any rectangular.
Okay, not just any rectangular. Okay, a cube. Okay, let's do this. So just a cube. Ah, this is trippy. This one's trippy. Okay, I still don't know why Picat thinks this is important. I'm just doing it. I'm getting humbled right now. E. Boom. I kinda have experience because I'm a civil engineering student, so we draw houses often. I'm really interested on why Picat said that cubes are really so important to her personally. Let's watch this.
There are two things you can check. Take a ruler or a straight line tool and extend 4 lines on your cube, like this. They should ideally converge to a point, or at least in the same general area. This is to make sure that you're properly drawing your cube in.
That's a 3-point perspective. Okay, let's try this. Ah, it's so messy though. Just look at this. Okay, that's the point. Oh, this is where I'm wrong. It should converge.
But alright, enough about boxes. How do you actually start drawing human figures once you learn how to draw boxes? If there's a twist in the body, it can be clearly seen through the difference in orientation of the rib cage and the pelvis. Capturing these subtle differences in angle are important for expressing the energy and essence of a pose. This strategy is particularly helpful if I need to draw a circle in perspective,
Yeah, that's
i.e.
good.
an
That's really
ellipse. I still can't freehand an ellipse, by the way. So that means if you want to draw a cylinder of a certain length, all you need to do is draw ellipses on 2 planes of the box and connect them up, like this.
Let's proceed with orb. Orb. An artist that really influenced how I do my videos.
Hi, and welcome to how I do the thing that I do. So for the device, I use a Wacom Cintiq 16. It's a little bit expensive, and you can definitely get cheaper alternatives, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. And for drawing, I primarily use Clip Studio Paint. Probably heard this from every single artist, but the first step is always to gather some references. Getting references definitely helps you visualize the drawing that you want to make, because I don't know if you know this, but drawing from your imagination isn't always easy.
I don't know what to say, man. She's just sharing her process. I think this is pretty solid, man. Yeah, man, this is more of a process video rather than a tutorial. After all that training, can we say that YouTube artists give good advice? The answer is yes. They give good advice. Some can also give bad advice. Let's not ignore that. But you know, it's really audience's job to identify that. Just because someone is bad doesn't mean that they can't make guides anymore. I think that's what makes it awesome, man. That everybody can do it. But even then, really good advice, man. Is YouTube a good place to improve? Yeah. YouTube artists. And sometimes, I think, it's much more better than physical schools, man. YouTube might be the new wave, you know? I mean, if you really dug in deeper, you can get to modern day James, Proco, stuff like that. YouTube artists are good. They give good advice. So with that said, it's the ending of this video. And you can join my Discord. I will host a collab, the Bawang Simple collab. Though, I'll explain the rules. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching and Bro Best.
Beware the bear.